Hello, welcome to the Monkey Funk podcast. I'm your host today, Chance, or Not So Dark Magician. I'm going to pass the torch to Devin.
Hello. My name is Devin, and I'll add a fun fact in here while I'm at it. I enjoy RPG games and action adventure games,
Wow,
and I'll pass it on to Austin.
should have done a fun fact.
I am Austin, Fancy Brain Mold. I apologize for any extra audio from my direction today. I have a dog with me. I'm dog sitting for my parents, so if you hear squeak noises in the back, that's that. And my favorite games are mostly just story-based adventure action games. So it's on to you, Joey.
Hey, I'm Joey, or Rad Cow Disease, and I just work here. I don't have a fun fact.
There's nothing
Okay,
interesting about you.
I'll do my fun fact then.
The thing about me, I got the dogs airing out right now.
That's a good fun fact.
That
Toes
is a good.
spread, letting them
Uh,
breathe.
what kind of games do you like?
What kind of games do I like? I like
Yeah.
survival crafting and RPGs.
Yeah, I forgot to mention mine. I like JRPGs, fighting games, and like PS2 era action games.
I feel like you
Ooh,
get a
Yes.
broad spectrum. Like, I think the only thing you probably left out is fighting games, and I think you like those too.
I said fighting games.
Oh, I don't know. I guess
Yeah,
I'm stupid. I'm slow. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
man, I'm slow.
Man, I never knew.
Man, I never knew.
We could restart.
No, I'm good.
Oh no,
All right.
we keep going.
Hell
We
no.
we started to no, we have started
It's
5 times already.
The show must go
and
on.
one of them wasn't even a start.
That's true. It's true.
So,
All right.
all right.
Oh.
Any before we really jump into today's topic, any major life updates?
Small talk. I don't
Major
know.
life update. So,
None.
last Monday was the last day at my job at UCO.
Oh
Excellent.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
I have officially resigned from coaching Overwatch at UCO, and I am now officially coaching Overwatch at OU.
Oh, like you started? You're not fun employed.
I am. I'm kind of like. Well, it's more like an internship position. It's not a. It's kind of it's an unpaid position, so it's not really like I'm technically onboarded because I'm in the Discord and everything, but I don't, I'm sure eventually I'll get to the part where they give me a email and stuff like that. But
Okay.
we'll see, we'll see.
All right.
So
Dude,
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
I'm so happy for you because OU's my
I
alma
appreciate
mater,
that.
so I'm like, oh man, here we go. Time to light 'em up.
Right. Well, it's exciting, man. It's definitely a promotion in a way. Definitely, as far as esports programs are concerned, OU definitely for our state has the best program. So
Devin, I want a state of Overwatch from you, from a coach's perspective. What do you think is going on there? Because I've touched on it a little bit, but like I really want to get the insider scoop.
So the current state of Overwatch, I will kind of provide a disclaimer right from the get-go. I have been kind of in the off season, so I really haven't been incredibly active as far as coaching is concerned. But that doesn't mean I haven't kind of had a finger on the pulse of the game, so to speak. I think it's in an okay place. I do think there are some changes that need to be made in terms of how the game feels. I think we're still in a spot where tanks don't quite feel like tanks. I feel like support heroes can feel a little overtuned, over punishing at times, just because of their damage output. Sometimes they are on par with DPS heroes, and so I think the whole system needs to be looked at. I think there needs to be an additional balance change. The change with the numbers, the scaling. As to how you do that, I couldn't even begin to tell you. I think all I know is it needs to change, right? So I'm gonna leave that going to leave that job to the developers. I know they can figure it out. Hopefully,
Yeah,
fingers
I think
crossed.
go
I
ahead,
think they
Joey.
should buff Orisa.
Bufferissa.
Bufferissa,
Right
obviously.
after she got done being hard meta for about
Yeah,
6 weeks, maybe longer.
she's not meta. She needs a buff.
She she definitely was pretty overpowered. I think people were getting sick and tired of her being the only tank being played, and then she got nerfed. And now we are in a state of limbo. I'll call it. So
Yeah,
her
I
match
I
like
was pretty
Limbo.
good though.
I
We
get
should
what
all
you
limbo.
Mm,
I get what you mean with like tanks not feeling right, because when I got back into the game like for a week, it felt like tank was just another DPS that just would last longer, but because of that, everybody would target them and they were slower. So like I don't know, it's like you say, tank is just in a weird place right now, and that's mainly because you only have one tank per team, whereas back in Overwatch 1 days it was 6 people on a team and 2 tanks, you know? So
for
it's
sure.
it's not odd story right now, but
Hmm.
glad to see it improve and hopefully get better.
Yeah, it'll the good thing about Overwatch and just I guess life in general is it's consistently it's always changing, right? So whatever the state of the game is at your current moment in time, it's bound to change. You just give it a couple of weeks, it'll work itself out. So
Well,
Hell
for
yeah.
for life updates for me, uh I got new patio furniture.
Oh
nice.
That's really all
no!
there is.
God, we truly are nearing 30s.
I know, right? It's a big
Holy
highlight.
shit.
Ugh.
Yeah, patio furniture. Woohoo.
Here's how you really tell where you're nearing your 30s. Was it kind of exciting a little bit?
For
Feel the
for
rush.
Jenny, not for me.
Oh,
Dude,
not for you. Oh, okay. Well, then you're still young at heart.
have
You're
you
still good.
I mean, I was
I
have you
think
neutral to it all. I knew we needed it, and it is a nice set. Like, it was a set, so, like, a love seat, 2 chairs, and a table for, like, $350. And
have you
they're pretty nice, so,
you christened the new furniture?
not in the way you're thinking.
Oh no!
Oh man,
Ugh.
closed-in patio. You got to take advantage of that.
What?
I mean, you got a point, but no.
No!
There's children in our neighborhood, dude.
You're back to horses. Shut up. Children aren't gonna look over in your yard.
They might.
That is my parents' house you're thinking of. They have horses behind them. We just have
Oh, you still have a
chickens.
field behind you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do have a pretty wide field. Ellie,
Yeah,
Don't
shut
do
up.
Don't do
seriously.
that in front of. Sorry.
He's got chickens.
I got chickens in my house.
Don't break in the furniture in front of the rabbits at least.
Yeah, that's true. We have rabbits in our
Sure.
backyard too, and we don't need to give them any more encouragement.
I was getting ready to say rabbits
Just
don't
don't-
give a fuck who's around.
Show them how it's done.
they'll
I,
do it.
I will say this new furniture comes after Chance broke our old furniture.
Hold on. Hold on. I
No.
was just sitting there.
Yeah, no, I am kidding. That was not your fault. That was old furniture given to us by my parents and they were just throwing it out to get new furniture too. So like
I know.
literally
Mm.
like you just sat on it and the leg broke from under you. It's no.
I think I
it'd
know
be-
why they threw it out. If you know. What I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah, it was a matter of time.
I think it'd be really funny.
What's up, Joey?
Oh, I think it'd be really funny if while breaking in the new furniture, you break the new furniture on accident.
See, that's why we're
Oh
not doing
my.
that. Don't get up to that kind of nonsense over here. So, anyways, today we got a rug and some throw pillows for it, and it was it was a little daunting because Jenny got home, we put it out, she immediately hated it and was in a bad mood for approximately an hour, and then we fixed it, and everything's all good. So, anyways, that's my life update. That's how you know things are really looking up for me in the world.
Excellent. What about you, Joey? What are we? What's new in your world, huh?
Oh, absolutely nothing. I am in a monotonous loop of every week is exactly the same.
There's
The grind.
something so nice to that, though.
No,
Agreed.
no.
No. You're gonna
Ugh.
look back and be like, "Damn, I just went home and I chilled, and I just did my own thing, and that was just
Maybe,
what I did."
maybe if I wasn't working at Target of all places.
I mean, yeah.
That's
I
okay.
I
That's fair.
also worked
Target's
at
fucking
Yeah.
Target.
close.
Pretty sure 3 out of the 4 of us have worked at Target.
Trying to make
Sure.
it four, Devin.
Yeah, make it four.
Hell no.
It's not.
I don't
I'm
recommend
personally
it.
okay. Yeah, I'm good.
he
I
just
I also
he just clicks on
sorry.
targets.
Yeah, yes, correct. I just coach people how to click on targets.
Oh, that's
that's as
fair.
target as it's getting.
Click on their head, easy, simple as.
It's so
Anyway,
Yeah.
real.
so I got nothing really going on in my life, so we should get to the topic.
Sounds good to me.
Topic of
Nice.
today is what we all find an most underrated game in our opinion.
Ooh.
So, do any of y'all want to go first?
Well, I've got one that comes to mind, and
All right.
I really did articulate what I was gonna say about it, but that was like a week ago.
That's fair. Just give us your best shot.
So my submission, sticking to my theme, it's a Kingdom Hearts game because that's all I've been playing lately.
Swear to fucking god, if it's like the melody
It's
one.
not Melody. It is not, but
Okay.
it is of memories. It's Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Now, I consider it underrated because I was one of the people that hated that game for a long, long time. If you don't know, it's a Kingdom Hearts action game, but with a card system. So, like, in order to attack, you have to play a card from a deck that you've made, and your attack can be interrupted if your enemies throw out a card that's of higher value, right? So people hate this game because it adds a whole new layer of like
Complexity.
strategy, complexity, right? So me being me, I decided to go for a completionist run in Platinum Trophy all the Kingdom
Jesus
Hearts
Christ.
games, and that was the second one I had to get into. And Ellie, shut up. Sorry. So I got into it and was like, fuck, this is gonna suck major ass. But as I researched it, and as you like lean into the madness of the card-based system, you can be broken as hell in that game. Like if you just level up enough and grind enough and just cheese the system, you can beat that game in like a day. I'm dead serious. Now,
You
completing
know,
is a whole different story, but like if you really just give into that madness, it can be really, really fun. But then you switch to a different character where you don't get to customize your deck, and that's when it becomes bad again. So, anyways.
yeah, I got that game like on launch when I was like 10. No, I was 8.
Yeah.
Because it's on the Game Boy. Maybe it was 9. I don't remember.
It came out in I looked it up. It came out in 2004.
Yeah,
So
Okay, so I was 10. I was
that was
10.
the Game Boy version. They did remake it
Mhm.
for PlayStation 2 and subsequently the PlayStation 3, 4, now 5. So.
yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask you, Austin. Is did you originally play this game on PlayStation 2 or Game Boy Advance, or neither? Did you just get like
So
go ahead, yeah.
I have played both. I've only ever beaten it and completed it on the PlayStation versions. Game Boy, I was a little too young to like understand this kind of thing, and really get the whole card-based system. But I have seen the Game Boy version. I'm pretty sure it's available on the Switch eShop. So like, I'm sure at some point in my life I'll touch it again and just complete it, or not complete it, beat it. I do not want to complete that game ever again, though. That was awful because there's so much grinding that goes into it. But that's that again. I'm going to come back to that's why I think it is underrated because I was one of the people that hated it for such a long time. But just give into the madness, and it becomes so much fun because like you can make some broken combos in that game if you just allow yourself the right strategy and the right ways of doing it. And I won't go into much more detail at that point.
Yeah, I kept getting stuck. I think it was Oogie Boogie. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was so stuck that I started a whole new fucking game to go back and get to him and still got stuck.
dude.
Mind you, I was, a dumb 10-year-old, so I probably wasn't doing anything correctly, but it was
Yeah.
just so like, oh,
Dude, for
that,
me, I remember when I had the Game Boy version, I was stuck on Hades for ever, and then you get the second set of world cards, and then I was stuck on Maleficent. So
oh my god,
once I made the
games.
jump to PS2, I was fine, but then I was stuck on Larxine's like first or second fight for a long, long time too. So glad to at least have matured and gotten through all of that, because oh my god, you can just obliterate those bosses if you like get enough slates put on. It's fun.
So, what we've learned here is Austin is 100% susceptible to Stockholm Syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the takeaway.
That is our takeaway
Just
here.
give yourself
So
into the madness, it'll be fine.
if you want to kidnap Austin, he will fall in love with you.
When you're instructed on how to take notes for class, and then you're supposed to point out the significance of everything. That was the significance. Is Austin has Stockholm syndrome.
It's that one
Yeah.
underlying thesis.
That's the shit you star on your paper. That's with you underline it, star it, make sure you know that's you got to know that.
Exactly.
Have a whole class discussion on
Yeah, that's right.
it.
That's right.
So
That's right.
that's my submission. I'm gonna pass it to Devin because I think he mentioned earlier that he's got one locked in the chamber too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, my selected underrated game of choice is actually going to be Lord of the Rings Conquest. Lord of the Rings Conquest, for those of you who don't know, was released in 2009. It was an action game developed by Pandemic Studios, and it's basically Star Wars Battlefront 2, but Lord of the Rings. That's it. That's literally the game, right?
So good.
It, I think, personally, is phenomenal, and I will explain to you why. Now, of course, there's the bias, right? There's a nostalgic factor in there, right? Released 2009. I played it. I believe it was on the PlayStation 3. I'm pretty sure that's the majority of the time that I spent. I think it was also released for PC, Xbox 360, but I personally played it on the PlayStation 3.
And the DS.
I guess I should. Yeah, that's right. I think it was on the DS, Nintendo DS. that would be wild playing that game on
Back when
Nintendo DS.
handheld games were just all 2D if they were released cross-platform, so it was very shittily ported. Usually, not always.
But hey, you got to kick ass on the road. Got to sit in the car and
That is
start
true.
killing
Well, it
Balrogs
works.
and shit. Right? Killing works, yeah. But okay, so here's why I think it was such an underrated game, because I actually went ahead and took some of the time to kind of look at the reviews of this game, and I'm gonna be honest. There's some people that absolutely have shitted on this game, man. They just did not think this was it, and I'm gonna prove them wrong here. All right, so. Here's why I think that this is a extremely underrated game. First of all, a lot of people were kind of dogging on the combat, right? Personally, I thought that was actually a highlight of the game. The cool thing is, obviously, just like in Star Wars Battlefront 2, you get to pick 4 different classes, right? It's usually a melee type, a ranged type. You have a scout, which is kind of like a rogue, right? Stealthy character, and then a wizard type, right? So I think having that type of what's the word I'm looking for? Good lord, variety. There you go. I think having that variety is really nice. And it's like Battlefront 2 in the sense that you also get to pick a hero during the game. So, at any given point, you can play as Gimli or Gandalf or Frodo or whoever the hero for that select map is. And I think that's a really, really cool feature, even though it's exactly like Battlefront 2 in that sense.
Dude, that's legit, though. That's what
Yeah.
you want out of a game like that, is to play those heroes and those situations. So like that's cool.
For sure. I mean, it really kind of gives you an idea of what it would be like to be in that scenario, in that position, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about last podcast, which is the immersive factor, right? This goes hand in hand, right? Immersion, you feel like you're in these battles, right? Something really cool that I think is probably, if not one of the best things, the best thing is you get to play as evil. Basically, you get to play as the orcs. You get to play as the Nazgul. You get to play as Saruman or Sauron, even, right? There's a flip side. So once you get done with the good side of the campaign, where you play, the typical the Knights of Gondor, or all the good side. Once you complete that campaign, then you can move over to the evil side and you can start playing that. And that's a cool thing because that's it's kind of a what if scenario, right? And it really fleshes it out because nobody really, not nobody, but you don't immediately think, well, what would have happened in this storyline if evil had prevailed instead of good. And then this game kind of provides you a kind of a vision of that, what that might have looked like. And I think that's, I'm just going to be flat out honest, I think that's fucking cool, to be able to play the bad side. Now, I'll tell you right now, as a kid, I fucking loved that shit. As an adult playing it now, it kind of depresses the hell out of me. I'm not gonna lie, because at the end, you're straight up like, you're like burning the Shire and killing hobbits and things
That's
like
pretty
that.
messed up.
It's pretty metal, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, holy crap.
We love getting
Um,
to play as the bad guy. You brought that up.
right.
It made me think of Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, their licensed game, and you can actually play as both the Autobots and the Decepticons in two different campaigns. It's basically the same missions in both directions, but like I don't know, being the Decepticons just being absolute assholes and just destroying the city around you, that it makes sense. It lets you blow off that steam, kind of like in GTA, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely something satisfactory about playing the other side, even if you may not fully, agree with it or align with it, right? It's definitely a side that you wouldn't typically play in a lot of video games or storylines or whatever the case may be. And so it's just cool to see it from that different perspective. And so that's one of the big reasons I really like this game. Another kind of cool factor of this game. Some people may think, whatever, but Hugo Weaving actually narrates the game. And for those of you who don't know who Hugo Weaving is, he is Elrond. He's the actor who played Elrond in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So I think that's cool as hell. So hearing his voice, and it's kind of funny too because he'll narrate the bad side too, and he'll sound all like depressed and stuff. He'd be like, the fall of Gondor and stuff like that, and you're like, holy crap, right? So again, immersion. And then I guess one last kind of bullet point I'll touch on, and then I'll kind of pass it along is, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there was a lot of funny moments in that game for me. Things that just randomly happen in the game, and it's just, I don't know, it's funny. I remember to this day playing it as a kid, and I always thought it was exceptionally funny whenever you saw Frodo get picked up by the flying Nazgul, and then the Nazgul would drop Frodo, and his model would just T-pose as he was falling to his death at Australia. And I just thought that was awesome. That was just super funny as a kid, and I'll be honest, as a 26-year-old adult, I still think that's funny
Yeah,
when I see
the
it today.
licensed
So
shovelware just did not get nearly as much budget as they thought.
yeah.
It's it's always like we always had good like or decent movie tie-in games back then,
Hmm.
That's
and it's
true.
like the you're talking about like just that what if scenario of like what if the bad guys won? Like I always thought that was so cool, and you could only experience that through the games.
For
Because
sure,
or else
for
it's just
certain.
like the movies are retelling of the book or reimagination, and then uh,
Hmm.
the book is just the story. But it's like sometimes you just want to live in the world a little more and just kind of see things differently.
For sure. For sure.
Like,
Harkening back to that just chill out kind of game, you know?
yeah, like the hangout ability is
Yeah,
like
hangout ability.
it's
Yes,
weirdly
hangout
clever.
ability. No, that's a perfect way to put it. But it, I agree. And if you want to get really specific with it, let's say you had a instance where you're like, man, I really wish I knew what it would have been like to play like, an Urukai archer, for example. Well, you can do that in this game. That's
Yeah.
completely doable. And you know, you get to essentially feel out what that would have been like, and it's just I don't know. I'm sure there may be another Lord of the Rings game out there that does that, but I mean, whether it does it as well, I don't know. But to my knowledge, that is the only game that I'm aware of that has that feature. So I just think that's cool.
Man, why
No, think
why can't we get a game that's like that but for Power Rangers? Power Rangers only gets like beat 'em ups and that's it.
Yeah,
I think like
that
a
would be cool.
Power Ranger RPG, like a open world RPG would be
Yeah.
so cool. Whenever you get in the Megazord, it's like just scale the battle up and you're like knocking the buildings over.
Dude,
But I
it'd be
think it'd be
so fun.
extra fucking cool if they kept like the tokusatsu physics, because it's just like the buildings are just big blocks.
Right.
So you just like
Mhm.
push them aside and like they move like they would on a set essentially. I think that'd be such a cool fucking idea.
Yeah, most of the time if you have a licensed Power Rangers game, it's either a beat 'em up or it's a fighting game like Battle for the Grid, which it does work and has gotten good reception recently. And then like I actually I got nostalgic and like I was able to legally get a ROM for my GameCube of Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Emphasis on legally, and it, in that game you actually do play just as the Zords, which I remember loving so much as a kid. So like I got to replay it and like be like, oh, this is so cool, but it very much overstays its welcome. You're like, okay, I'm playing as a Zord, but it's basically just kind of like roaming around one open area to another. This isn't this isn't as good. Plus, you don't even get to combine the Zords as much. Like you don't get to be the Megazord except for like 2 missions. So not an underrated game. Very much just middle of the road meh game.
The game.
For sure, right? All right, so let me hear from you, Chance. What do you got for us?
So I was thinking about this. I actually didn't even have my answer last week when we were supposed to do the episode. And I felt bad about that because I've been thinking and thinking and thinking, and I'm like looking through all my games, and then it hit me. It's this. There's I don't have it here. My copy's at my mom's. I don't, it's an old 360 game, Tenchu Z, and you just make your own ninja, and you just like go on assassination missions, or like sometimes you'll go on like find X item mission, or just different things. And it just had like such good, clear gameplay. Like it was just really, really well controlled. Like all the mechanics really worked together, and it had fucking 4-player online co-op. And that was the coolest shit to me when I was like 12, 13 years old. I played this game so much that I had like 950 gamer score out of 1,000.
Damn.
I was like 5, 6 missions away from like getting S rank on every mission. Because if you get an S rank on hard, it doesn't like backtrack it to medium and easy. You have to go and do that. So you have to play through 150 missions S rank. Um, and I just been kind of slowly doing that. And then my brother deleted my save file whenever I was at
Oh,
school.
that
Aw.
sucks.
It pissed me off because I had like all the end game shit. Like I had all the coolest moves. I had like a Inazuna drop like from Ninja Gaiden. I had like the black blade, so it doesn't make a sound whenever you unsheath it. Because that was a mechanic in the game. Enemies could hear your footsteps, and they could hear if you unsheath your blade or not, which was so fucking cool. So you'd like, oh, and they could see the reflection of your blade if you had it out. They also
Damn.
had like, yeah, it was like so fucking cool.
This sounds like a game with a lot of polish to it.
It felt like it to me at the time. I haven't played it, God, like 10 years, more than 10 years, 12, 15, 13 years. Um, it's a game I'm wanting to pick it back up, dust off the old 360 and just restart it and just go to town on it. Uh,
So
I was gonna try to see if some of my old buds from back in the day wanted to hop on and play. But
so
yeah, no, it was cool because like enemies had sight, you had sound, um, there was smell. So like if you accidentally like, because there's like little traps on the ground, if you got into a cesspit and like fell, the enemies could like smell you and then detect
dang.
you
Oh
that
my
way.
god.
It was, and you'd have like an aura around you. It was really funny. And it just had like a lot of really cool customization options. It's like I made like this badass ninja, and he had like the big giant ponytail, and he had like the fishnet t-shirt, but with like his jacket hanging over his like leggings. It just looked cool. It's just everything about that game is just like, yeah, this fucking rocks. It's such a
That's
good game.
that's so
And
cool to me, you
Yeah,
know? I
I
mean
I
yeah,
want to
the
look into
amount of
this
detail.
honestly.
yeah,
The, yeah.
and honestly, I've been playing Rise of the Ronin lately from Team Ninja Koei Tecmo, and it's really giving me like Tenchu Z vibes to the point where it's like, fuck, I need to go back and play Tenchu Z just to see if it's even as bit of good as I remember it being. Because that game was phenomenal. I sunk hours into that game just rerunning missions. Because you suck at first, and then you have to get better. So like by the end of it, I was just like, I was cold. I knew all the maps. I knew where every enemy was. I could get from A to B. I knew exactly how many kills. Like I'd plot out my path. Like because you need like I think 5 kills to get S rank on top of like who your target is. So I'd get like my 5 kills, and they all had to be stealth kills, and then I'd get my guy, and it was really cool because like Japan had like the paper doors. If they had a light in the room, you could like see the shadow of the person walking by, and you could stab through the door and kill them that way. It's just fucking awesome. It
Damn.
was it was such a cool game, and it was published by From Software. I think Acquire developed it. I don't think Acquire developed it.
It says it was developed by K2.
K2. Okay. Uh,
So, Chance, I gotta ask, like, it sounds like this game had a lot of good polish to it and a lot of good mechanics built in. Why do you think it didn't take off in the eyes of,
I
like, the public? Because I looked at its Metacritic score, and it's at, like, a 5.6 for critics and then a 7.7 for users. So I'm curious what
I
your thoughts are on that.
I think it probably was not as polished. I think you had to kind of like like if a game's like really well made, you could just kind of hop in and play and it's intuitive and you know how it works.
Right.
I think this is a game you kind of had to take time to master and you had
Okay.
to really play the game and like work with the game and really overcome the game. And I think that like difficulty hump and this is in the time before Dark Souls and I really it's so funny because I was looking at the same review scores and I was like, I feel like this game would review much better today than it did back then.
Right.
And I feel like Dark Souls was kind of a turning point. Like hard games are cool again and stuff like that. Now people are like, oh, these really like Sekiro reviewed really well, and Sekiro kind of has some Tenchu DNA in it. I think they were actually going to make a Tenchu game when Activision approached them. And then they ended up just kind of branching off and doing their own thing, so they weren't tied down to like the Tenchu universe and the mechanics. Uh, so I think Tenchu really would. I think it'd review a lot better today than it would back then. I just feel like maybe I don't want to. It's not ahead of its time. Like there was other Tenchu games beforehand, but it was definitely I don't know how to phrase it without saying it's ahead of its time.
Would you say it had that certain je ne sais quoi?
Yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
had that special sauce to it.
Yeah. I get you.
Um, and it was just like I always noticed, like especially when I was a kid, like reviewer scores in games that I like never fucking matched up. Like they'd always be like, "This game's a 6 out of 10." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? This game's great. You guys suck." So maybe that's where my disdain of game reviewers really started.
That's
Was when they were
fair.
they were trashing my games.
I think what's interesting too is, and not to kind of steer us off topic here, but I can't help but notice every single one of our games that we have selected, right? My game was, published in 2009, right?
Yeah,
Austin's was 2004. Yours, Tenshu Z, was in 2006, right?
yeah,
So I feel like a lot of critics, I feel like they are bias towards like the generation of games they grew up with. If that makes sense, right? Because you notice how we're kind of. I'm not trying to suggest that we only like games that were made in the 2000s, right? But I feel like a lot of what we compare games to, and I am definitely guilty for this of this. I don't want to speak for you guys, but I can't help but also compare a lot of games that are released now these days to games that were released in the 2000s, right? Because that's just what I grew up with. That's what I'm used to. That's what I like, right? So maybe that's a reason why game reviews are so skewed or so like, either, yeah, this makes sense or what the hell are you talking about, right? Because you have that variety of people who review these games and, who knows, they could be old heads who, you know, played games in the 90s, or maybe they're newer generation gamers, who knows, right? But I do think that may play a role in why a lot of the reviews are so inconsistent, if it seems that way.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I also
That
just
Austin.
does, yeah.
I also just feel like, especially back then, I feel like they'd always have like the wrong person reviewing games.
So true.
Because I'd go on IGN a lot. I remember like one time I was rating one. He's like, the guy at the beginning is like, I don't play a lot of RPGs, and I'm like, then why are you reviewing an RPG? Like, you don't, like you don't have the same like appreciation that somebody else would. Like, go get
It's
like
like
Tim
getting a
Rogers.
it's like
He's
getting a
got a good
dentist to
appreciation.
rate a chocolate. Like
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's like bringing a horse to a goat show.
yeah.
Weird fucking
I
phrase.
will say, Devin, like I do think you bring up a valid point of like all of our picks are mostly from the 2000s. And I do somewhat agree with you on the like, this is what we grew up with. Those were the generation of games that we kind of, got accustomed to. I will say, and I won't speak for you and Joey, but I know Chance and I, we are somewhat gaming historians. Like he and I like a lot of retro stuff, so we know a lot about the classics from like the early days in the 80s, the 90s, and like we know a lot about those like big titans of gaming, like your Chrono Triggers, your Super Mario 64s, your Mega Mans. But I think another point to what you were saying of, our picks mostly being from the 2000s, that was a time when licensed games were just released automatically with like movie tie-ins, let's say. Like with yours, it's a Lord of the Rings movie tie-in game. Um, those I guess that was just kind of the days of if you can get something to just stick to the wall,
We're
send it
throwing
out the
shit at
door,
it.
Get
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
shovelware in a sense.
Yeah, no,
Now,
that's an incredibly valid point. Yeah.
nowadays, that's not as common, and I think that's due to the whole indie game phenomenon and the whole indie developer situation we have. We have a lot more games to choose from on, say, Steam that are way, way cheaper than the games we probably grew up with in those days. And
Hmm.
so you can get a sense for a really, really good game for not nearly as high of a price tag, I'll say.
I was gonna say, I feel like, and we'll get to Joey. Sorry, Joey.
You're
Joey's
good.
just chilling, man.
Yeah, we
I
have
just work here.
the indie scene's really taken over that like single A, double A, like smaller budget games that were
Hmm.
like prevalent on the fucking like GameCube, PS2, that era we grew up in. And I think part of the reason we're talking about these games is like ask your parents what music they listen to. It's probably shit from the period they grew up in. It's just shit in your
Oh
early
yeah,
20s. Like in,
for
it's
sure.
Hey, don't be
or
shitting
like
on those
teenage
80s.
years. No, and it's like they're still good. Like in a lot of those games, from the 2000s, they're still good. Um, but yeah, like the indie scene really is. I've noticed replaced that double A, single A, which is kind of sad because I really like. I kind of miss those games, like coming out of
Yeah,
different companies, like
Hmm.
like Square Enix, Nintendo used to do some of those, like with some of their titles. Now it just feels like everybody's doing big triple A, hundreds of millions of development hours, or hundreds of millions of dollars in development and like marketing, and it's just like if it's go big or go home, and it's like I don't
yeah.
know, just
I get that sense. Like I can't speak for how it was when it released, but like Imagine Super Mario RPG releasing now, like just flat out, no nostalgia goggles to it. Imagine the response to that versus when it released back in the 90s.
Oh,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
It would not be well received. People would be like, "What is Nintendo doing? This isn't Mario." Like,
Hmm.
and yet it
Well,
is
wait,
now
is
regarded
this?
as one of the best games of all time.
I think. Well, hold on. I think people would be down for it because we still have like the big. I don't know. People are okay with Mario just doing Mario.
Yeah.
Like Mario's, he karts, he golfs, he tennises. You know.
I just
So
feel
maybe they're
like
just like, oh,
RPG is a
Nintendo's.
little off-brand. I don't know. I could be wrong. I
No, I mean,
I probably am wrong actually.
no. I'm
Well,
just. I was just for the sake of argument. I was like, I don't. That one's hard. That
or
one's
like
kind of hard to answer.
or like imagine Paper Mario, like that just coming out of the blue. And again, that was originally on the N64. Like
Hmm.
to me it just feels so far-fetched from what you know Mario as today. Like he is the platformer guy, the puzzle solver
Yeah,
in some cases. So like getting
I
out of your niche, I feel like is pretty interesting.
I do like that Nintendo will just do that with Mario. Like they did make him paper.
Yeah,
They do like instead of making a karting game, they just make a Mario Kart.
right.
They just slap Mario and friends and then they're like here's a fun interesting idea. Like they want to do sports games, they did sports games.
Yeah.
Put Mario on it. Have Link come in,
you
Dude,
know,
the
so
guest
many of
character.
those Mario sports games I would consider underrated too. Or maybe they're
Yeah, and I guess
just rated. I don't know.
those are still kind of, I guess, doing the double A stuff because they're not the huge budget.
They go back and forth. Like some of them are like
Hmm.
really, really good, and then others like you'll never remember. I don't know.
I think part of that, especially with the Switch, is they're like releasing bare bones. They
Yeah.
just release, and then they're like, "Oh, we'll do content updates in the future." And I think what they should do is release what they want to release, like the big package, and then if it's successful, then they do the content updates to keep the game alive.
What about you,
Uh,
Joey? We haven't heard your
yeah.
pick.
Well, y'all are actually in a great springboarding position because my pick was Kirby's Air Ride,
Oh
Hell yeah!
shit.
Oh yeah.
a Nintendo game that did not rate well with any of the fucking reviewers. I'm looking at it now. 61% Metacritic, 61% GameSpot, 5.2 out of 10 on IGN. Baller game. If I
Baller
knew,
game.
I have my copy somewhere, and if I knew where it was, I would be playing it in the background right now. This game, so many hours sunk into this game, and why? What's the plot? There is no plot. You play the game.
It's just Kirby in
It
a racing game.
City
yes,
City Trial.
City
City.
Trial is
It's just like
the best party
multiplayer,
game mode in existence, and
and
I will stand by that statement.
all you do is just fuck around and get on different fucking
Then,
like what are they
yeah,
called? The rides.
yeah,
I don't know.
the like air ride machines or
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
it was just
Oof.
so.
And that
That's
game's only lasting legacy is you can get through Dragoon in Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's where that comes from. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
that comes from Kirby's Air Ride too. That's
Yeah.
like,
think,
it's like an unlockable secret air ride machine that you can sometimes get if you're very lucky in City Trial mode.
and it's so fucking good.
Oh yeah, why don't we have the Hydra? We need the Hydra in Smash Brothers too. Oh,
That that kind of goes back to what I was saying last time we talked. Like just really good movement can really just keep you
oh,
entertained for so long.
it's
Because City Trial is just you're just basically riding around in a fucking circle, and it's
yeah,
the most fun shit ever.
bro. The first time you learn that you can like get shot out of the volcano and
Yeah,
land on that thing in the sky, your mind is blown. It's There's just so many little secrets. You can unlock different things throughout the game, like in the save file, like different game modes, different race tracks, different mini games. Uh, there's like a free ride thing where you can just go and drive around the city for however long you feel like it.
yeah, this is a City Trial, wasn't it? That
No,
shit
there's
was
like, yeah. Then they just had like this random top-down racing mode.
God.
I
Oh,
will say, Joey, I remember having that game as a kid and never playing it. So I think your claim on underrated is valid because
it is.
I think I tried it like once or twice and just
It's
was like, this isn't Kirby, and then
it
But yeah,
has
it
immediately
was
took it
game.
off.
It was GameCube, right?
Yeah, it was
yeah, it was a
GameCube.
GameCube game.
Yeah.
It's so weird. The GameCube did not sell well,
But
but
it's
it
like
has so many fucking bangers. Like
What
I'm
are you
looking at my
talking
shelf
about,
right
True.
now.
Chance? The main feature of the GameCube was the carrying handle.
yeah, it was a portable console like the
You
Switch.
We love the
You
carrying
know,
handle.
I used to go to my friends and I would bring my GameCube a few
Ooh.
times, and we would just like put two TVs next to each other and just parallel play games.
Did
Like
you
that shit was awesome.
have the carrying case for it?
No, I
The
didn't have
carrying
that.
case.
I
Backpack.
had the carrying case for it, where
Dang, yo.
you just like put the GameCube in it, and the handle of the GameCube sticks out of the case,
Oh,
and then you can like slot
Yeah.
games in, and you zip it up, and the handle for the
What?
case
Yeah, it's
is
cursed.
just the GameCube handle.
I
It's so
remember,
cursed, dude.
I,
They were
I
like,
remember
we have to keep the main feature, but also give it a carrying case.
Yeah, you can carry
You're
the games and
basically
controllers
just
with
giving
it.
it a dust cover.
Yeah.
I remember my cousin had the fucking screen because we were watching my cousins one week while my cousin, she had to go get treatment. Anyways, so he had this screen and like pop up and down. So I just remember he posted up on the couch, and he was just playing Harvest Moon the whole fucking time, and I had no idea there were farming games. And I was such an annoying little shit that I wanted to play the farming game so bad on his tiny little screen.
The game, the GameCube had so many just random modular attachments, and they added so much to it.
Oh, dude, the
I-
Game Boy player? I
Oh,
wish I had one
yes.
of those.
I wish I had
Game
that.
Boy player.
I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we were talking about Lord of the Rings games earlier. The Lord of the Rings Two Towers Game Boy game was a fucking
Oh,
Diablo
yeah.
2 clone.
Ooh.
And I
Yeah.
had no fucking idea what was going on the tiny Game Boy screen. And then I get the Game Boy player and I slot that bad boy in. I'm like, wait, now that I can see this game's actually really fucking good. And it's just a Diablo, like a really good Diablo clone.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see a fucking thing on the Game Boy screen.
God, it's been ages since I played that. You just unlocked a core memory I forgot
That
I
was-
had. That's
I-
awesome.
Yeah, because I had no idea it was a good game. And I'm like, I had my friend in Tulsa, his name is JD. I don't know why I brought that. Anyways, and he puts it in. He's like, "You want to play?" And I'm like, "Wait, we can see." And then I put my game because I had two of them, and we are just like playing fucking Lord of the Rings, Two
Yeah.
Towers. But it was just, yeah, it was fucking great. I was like, "What in the hell?"
So I will say, Chance, you and I did some modding to my GameCube, and I did
Yeah.
try to get the three Lord of the Games. Wow.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings games for my GameCube. Unfortunately, I was limited on storage space, but like it's on my list to like get on my next cycle of games.
I
And-
actually. Oh, sorry.
It's all good. I can wrap up this real quick. I have good news for you, Joey. I do have Kirby Air Ride on my GameCube. Should you
Yes!
want to play it?
Hell,
Yes!
Hell
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I
Party
have
at
to-
my place, y'all.
I have
Yeah.
two copies of it because I had my own copy and my sister had her own copy, which I just kind of ended up with her GameCube stuff because she just didn't want it.
Same with my sister, but the Nintendo
So-
DS.
Yeah.
I played Kirby's Air Ride last year to just see if it was like nostalgia, if it was actually good, and I played it for like 8 hours straight. It's just good.
Dang.
The driving mechanics are just so unique for the game.
Yeah.
It's just very satisfying.
Well,
Yo, that's what we should do, bro. We should all go to Austin's place and play all of the games that we just talked
That
about.
we mentioned?
And that
Yeah.
would be so fun.
That would be
Yeah.
funny.
I will do
I-
my best to get them.
I-
Legally.
Yes.
We could dump some ROMs.
Chance, I just said legally.
Yeah, well, you
I-
can dump your own ROM. That's not
I-
illegal.
I'm not I'm not playing anything legally. I'm getting to play stuff, Nintendo.
Okay.
I'm illegally games I've never played before.
Cut that out a lot.
I'm gonna just bleep it out. Cut the audio down.
Holy moly!
Joey's gonna be.
I
I'm
did-
gonna.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings and GameCube, I did last weekend buy Lord of the Rings: Two Towers and Return of the King on GameCube for $20 for both.
Oh,
Dude.
hell yes.
Which I remember. I just remember both of those. Like, I tried Fellowship of the Ring. I had that on PS2. Dude, that game was not fun.
Nah.
You start off as Frodo. You're into the Shire, which is really well made, by the way. Really cool. The game fucking is awful to control, and you're so weak, and you're so shitty. I never made it that far.
Yeah.
May try it as an adult, but Two Towers and Return of the King, those games fucked. Those games fucked.
I agree. The which is so funny because like in a movie perspective, I think Fellowship is my favorite. But like in a game sense for the PlayStation 2, yeah, no, that was ass. I agree. I felt like what's the guy what's the guy on the peanut can? Like Mr.
Mr.
Peanut. I don't know.
Mr. Peanut?
Hey, that's his name. Oh my god. Anyways, that's what I felt like.
That's
There's this guy, and he's a peanut. What could be his name? Mr.
know.
Peanut?
I heard Guy on a peanut can, and I was picturing like this little like gremlin gnome sitting on an actual can of peanuts.
No, Mr. Peanut, bro.
Oh,
I'm just a little fragile guy, you know? Like that's how you
Yeah.
feel as Frodo in that game. It's just how I felt. I don't know.
Which is wild, because The Hobbit, the game that came out like 2003, where you play as Bilbo was fucking awesome.
Bilbo.
Well,
That game,
slaps,
that game
dude.
was actually underrated. I played that at my church friend's place, and I was like, "Wait, this game's actually fun as shit."
right.
Bilbo is built different.
He is built different.
Low key is. I never played Aragorn's Quest, so I need to.
Like,
You know, I didn't either. I
you ever
didn't
think
either.
about how Bilbo had the ring for how many decades and he never murdered anybody?
True.
Yeah, that's
Literally
true.
built different.
That's true.
Hey,
dealt a little
he's got
different.
that mental fortitude, man.
Mm.
Fucking eat shit, Smeagol.
Or he's just so weak that he couldn't.
Nah, Bilbo's good.
Nah,
Okay.
Nah, he's goaded.
you saw
he's
the
got
Bilbo face
Yeah.
in Fellowship
That
of the
shit
Ring.
Scared
Oh,
the
dude,
that
fuck out of me.
Oh, same, dude.
I was 7. I was in the theater. My dad read me The Hobbit. I love that book. Where I'm sitting there just enjoying myself, and he pulls that shit on me. I feel betrayed. I was
Oh, dude.
hiding in my
Yeah.
seat.
We love
I remember when I
Bilbo.
was a kid, I was like, what, 4 or 5 years old? Shit happened. I was like, oh, hell no. I ran out of the room. I was like, no.
I remember I was watching Fellowship in my parents' room on their TV, like on the DVD,
Mhm.
and that scene came up, and both of us knew it was coming up, and we still fucking jumped. Like, fuck that.
It's just why did he why he like that? Why he do that?
Yeah, what the hell, my guy?
It's the ring, man. It's the influence. Just does it to people.
So, taking it back to underrated games, I got a weird one for you. I was just looking through my GameCube collection. Did any of y'all play the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy? Like the
No.
game?
Oh, I wanted it, but my parents wouldn't get it for me.
Dude, I remember playing this game at a friend's house, and I immediately went home and told my mom, like, we have to get it. And she got it for GameCube rather than PlayStation 2, like my friend, but it's fine. I remember playing the shit out of the game. For some reason, it was just so funny. Like, it's a fighting game, and your special moves just match all the characters perfectly. And, like, you know how cursed Billy and Mandy can get. The fighting game is just unhinged, dude. So I don't know if it's any good anymore. I haven't looked at it, with nostalgia goggles yet or anything like that. But like, I remember really, really liking that one back in the day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I will just go ahead and give you guys a heads up. We are getting close on time. So just
Understandable.
maybe a good time to do concluding thoughts. But yeah, go ahead, Chance.
Oh, sorry. I had one other little game I was gonna mention. for its series, and it's Beautiful Joe. It's just like a side
Yes.
scroll beat 'em up. Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I think it's Clover Studios from Capcom. That's where it came out of. That they had some fucking heaters back then, and that was one of them I always really like enjoyed playing. And I really want them to bring it back. Like Capcom's been on a fucking like they've been having a renaissance lately, and I kind of want to bring some of their older stuff like that back and just kind of reimagine it. Obviously, like keep the art style. Like the art style is clean. It's aged really well.
Nice.
Isn't it cell
So
shaded, right?
it's just It may be cell shader has like it just has like a comic book style.
Right, right. Similar vibe.
Yeah, like Wind Waker's aged phenomenally.
Yeah.
Like
Stylization leagues better than realism.
oh yeah, like look at
Mhm.
Jet Set Radio or Jet Grind Radio, fucking
Yeah.
1999. That game looks phenomenal. Or World of Warcraft with the cartoony style. Like
Yeah.
that's been able to age pretty gracefully over time.
True.
I mean,
True.
go look at fucking Lord of the Rings Online.
Yeah.
Tell me that
Yeah.
that looks good. Go look at EverQuest or EverQuest 2 online.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah, this
dude. EverQuest. Dude, I okay, so I picked that up the other not the other day. God, it's been like 9 months. And bro, it's so funny because I used to watch my dad play EverQuest on PC, right? And I mean, I thought that was the coolest shit. I remember having vivid memories in my mind of it. I played it 9 months ago, and I was like, these graphics are I was like, how did I remember it being so like, so the models being so vivid and so like,
like
but
expressive and
yeah, right. I know. I remember everything so clearly, and then I played it for the first time again for like 9 months ago, and I was like, God, this is this is
yeah.
awful.
Sometimes it's good to just let games live in your memory.
100% agree.
True.
That was one of them for me.
Yeah, that there's a lot of games like that. Like I tried like what was it? Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360. Whenever I first saw that game, I thought it was the most realistic looking game I'd ever seen. And then I booted it up like 6 years ago and I was looking at it and I was like, "Oh, there's
No,
like nothing here. This is not aged as well as I remember it."
well,
Yeah.
I
It
have
was
a
like my
very
first HD game.
I have a very different memory of Call of Duty 2 because I only ever had a very shitty PC to play it on.
Oh.
So I had to run it on like lowest graphics, so I don't have like a high graphics memory of it.
Yeah,
But
I played on the 360 because I had like the kiosk at like Target, and my
mm,
brother, my dad, and I would just stand because we played through Call of Duty 1 or most of it together. We would like take turns, and then every
the
time somebody died, just pass the controller. So we're like at Target playing on the 360, and we're just like all of our jaws are dropped. We're like, oh my god, I can't believe this game looks this good. And then I tried booting it back up, and I was like, just fuck around with it in the campaign. I was like, oh my god.
I
Yeah.
got it. Call of Duty 2 is $15 on Steam. What the fuck? It's on sale. It's
Hell yeah.
$19, but it's on sale. So
Oh,
it's
hell yeah.
Pick it up,
bruh.
man.
Oh no, I'm not paying $20 for a game that came out in 2005.
So, closing thoughts, statements, concerns.
I mean, I guess like the underrated. I like the circle around we got to of underrated games of the past were just mostly those licensed shovelware titles that have now become the indie games of today. So if you're ever looking for you ever want to look for those hidden gems, just go on Steam, get the indie games,
Yeah.
give the indie developers some money. They need it because so many of
Honestly,
them are talented.
there's so many good indie games, and it's like you'll never get to play them all, and it kind of, or like even discover like all the good ones.
Right.
Helldivers 2, which like came out of nowhere and sideswiped the gaming industry for a month or two.
I agree.
Uh,
It was awesome.
Yeah, I had no concept of Helldivers until Chance told me about it, and I want to get back into it so bad.
Even still, that's still like Sony first party kind of game.
Yeah.
that's fair.
So, like,
Well,
Silk Song win for real though.
Risk of Rain 2.
That
Yeah.
game is fun.
Yes. Love
Yeah,
that game. I'm bad at it, but it's incredible.
Right.
Pseudo Regalia. That game's really good.
I've heard good things about that one.
I think you just heard it from me and Chrissy.
No, I saw somebody I saw Iron Pineapple review it on his trying 13 Souls likes you've never heard of or what series
Really?
or whatever. Yeah. If you haven't seen that series, it's I feel like you'd enjoy it. He just goes to like the Souls like tag on Steam and plays like unpopular games most of the time.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen a few episodes. I haven't seen all of them. I just
Mm.
having played that game. I guess the combat's Souls-like but it's not.
Yeah. He
I
basically
thought a Souls-like is like Ocarina of Time is.
a lot of the time he goes like, well, you have iframe rolls, so I guess it's Souls like.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's
You have a stamina bar, so I guess it's Souls like.
you can kind of lock on.
If you can roll in the game, it's Souls like. I'm looking at you, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Fucking, does that mean Ocarina of Time Souls-like?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
Actually, Ocarina of Time would be a Kingsfield like, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, it was the first Souls game. Or would
Well-
that be Majora's Mask was the first Souls game? You know,
Yeah,
the Mask of the Souls.
I think it's
Maybe.
I think it's Majora's, right?
Yeah, Majora's Mask is the first Souls game.
Yeah.
Eh.
I always thought Souls game is more like the or like what Souls like would be in my mind would be like, oh, you have the currency / experience. If you die, you lose it.
Souls like to me has always been like the bastard child of a roguelike and a Metroidvania.
That's a good way to see it.
Mm.
You know, Metroidvania, you get a little bit more, I guess, exploration and badassness to put it weirdly
That's really
enough.
more like
Because I always think of like Dark Souls 1 where you
Yeah.
go to like the start of every area and then the
See,
second half of the game is going further into each of those areas.
I feel like Dark Souls 1 is definitely just like a 3D Metroidvania. And then
Yeah.
I haven't played 2, but 3 did not. 3 felt a little more like linear in its progression.
Yeah.
And it was cool because you could like look across the map and be like, "Oh shit, I was over there. Now I'm over here." That's awesome.
Dark Souls 3 would be better if it had poise.
Yeah. But Elden Ring,
Elden Ring. Elden Ring DLC in 2 weeks.
I know I'm fucking
Ugh.
pumped. Sorry. Anyway,
Yeah.
closing thoughts for real.
I
But
think
actually,
Devin's the only one
true.
left.
Don't trust game critics. They lie. They
Yeah.
don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Especially
I mean,
if they've never played
yeah.
the game they're reviewing in that genre.
Don't trust game critics and have a eyes and ears open for the smaller indie games. Because I'll be honest, you know, I've been making a kind of a realization that, you know, a lot of the games that are kind of getting published now, I don't know if this is the correct term for it, but they just seem so processed, you know.
Yes.
I feel that, yeah.
And it's just too much. It's just too much. I miss the days where people could just developers could just spit out a game. And sure, you could argue it was kind of a hit or miss kind of methodology, but I don't know. Ironically, it had more quality in my opinion. So I don't know.
had that soul, like Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Hashtag Sega, bring back Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. That's my outro.
True.
Well,
Closing thoughts.
I think we had good discussion, so
Mm.
Chance, you close us out, man.
Yep.
All right, that is episode 4/7 of a. I don't even know if we're on. Actually.
What?
I'm pretty
Are
sure
we
it's
just-
4 at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
are we starting at? It's either 4 or 2, depending on where we want.
I'm gonna consider it 4. I think I misspoke
Wait,
last time saying
wait.
it was episode 1.
No. Episode 2, season 2.
Yeah, this is
There it
season
is.
2. Yeah.
Our
We have
seasons are
2 episode seasons.
long.
Yep. Join us next season. In a
Season
week.
3 next time, everybody.
Yeah,
Who's
season
gonna
3.
stay on the
Let's
podcast?
go.
Will anyone be evicted?
It is me.
Well,
And scene.